Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jamie, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a bit of a two-in-one. I'm first going to be doing a Get Ready With Me featuring the Smokey Glow collaboration with Midas Cosmetics, and I am going to be doing a review of the new L'Oréal Infallible Fresh Wear Powder Foundation. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. So as you can see, I started doing the outer V's of my eye, and I'm using the shade Half Pony in the palette. As I'm doing my makeup, I'm going to share a little bit about this palette and Midas Cosmetics and Smokey Glow. So Smokey Glow is somebody that I have been following on YouTube now for about a year. And her channel is dedicated to makeup and commentary. So not only does she do commentary on makeup products, the YouTube beauty community, but also the YouTube space in general, and even some social justice issues. So a lot of our views, most of our views align very, very closely. So she's a channel I highly recommend. And one thing that's even better with her doing this collaboration with Midas is that Midas Cosmetics is an Afro-Latina owned brand. So most of their products are dedicated to fitting women with a variety of skin tones, whether they be very, very fair or very, very deep and rich. Oh my goodness, and I just realized my earring fell out. Well, it looks like I'm finishing the review with one earring because one of them decided to fall out and I can't find a back for it. So what are you gonna do? About a year ago, they came out with this collaboration, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. The color story is right up my alley, pinks and purples with lots of blending tones. I'm gonna go into shade Content, which is right here. And I'm using the Morphe E17 brush for that. And I'm just tapping in, and I'm going to layer on top of the brown and just carry it over. So speaking about commentary, I have some to offer because I have just been finding myself so sad with like some of the creators in YouTube right now, between the David Dobrik situation, which was disgusting. I never followed him, but I knew of him, and I know that he's super popular with young people. And if you don't know anything about that, there's a million videos about it, but just to keep it brief, he did pranks that were inappropriate. He did some bits that were inappropriate, and a young woman ended up getting assaulted in one of his videos, which was really, really unfortunate. But the latest blow is the James Charles situation with him messaging underage fans. And initially he claimed like, oh, they lied about their age or whatever, and like people believed him the first couple of times, but then more and more people kept going forward. And so it's like, okay, you can maybe make that mistake once if the kid looked older and if they legitimately lied. The same thing can't keep happening to you over and over again. At that point, that's a choice. At that point, you are preying on your fans, which first and foremost, it's unethical to date your fans in the first place as a big content creator or any content creator. YouTube is not a dating app, you know, so that's number one. But for it to be underage fans at that, and then it turned out that the boys that come forward, they look young. Like, there is no way you can look at some of those children and say, yeah, I can understand why somebody would mistake him for being somebody older. Like, no, they look young. Like, the youngest one was 15 years old, and he looked like a 15-year-old. And while I was not a huge James Charles fan, you know, I knew of him. I bought his palette collaboration with Morphe. You know, he's somebody that I was at least a little bit comfortable with my daughter knowing who he was So, and I was kind of rooting for him because he got canceled in 2019 with that whole Tati situation with, Jeffree Star and Shane and all that type of stuff. That was pretty crazy. And he redeemed himself from all of that just to turn around and do the exact same thing that Tati had called him out for to begin with. So, there's a lot of drama channels right now who are, dropping video after video, calling him out and all that type of stuff. And I just got to a point where I just stopped watching them for the most part because, like, what more is there to say? He made really, really bad choices that are illegal and he abused his platform. But yet, because he's a man, and I'll say it, because he's a white man, he gets more leeway than other people who would have engaged in the same exact behaviors. Like, Tati got canceled for calling him out. Like, she hasn't been on YouTube in months because she called him out, then got gaslit, then took it back, and it was like a whole big thing. Meanwhile, even after all of these kids came forward, he still won a Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Award. He still has his ties with Morphe. His palette is still being sold. And his quote-unquote apology video where he claimed that he messaged these fans because he was desperate and looking for love, it has more likes than dislikes. And, part of that, oh, by the way, I'm going to go in with the shade Colleague next, which is this bright pink color. I mean, I know that part of it is because he does have a young fan base, so they don't have the age and experience to understand that, you can't basically engage in illegal behavior and then just say, oh, my bad, drop an apology video, and then that's that on that. No, like, that's not, people go to jail for that kind of stuff. Like, I'm sorry videos, like, I hope he is sorry. I hope that, he does do better in the future, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he deserves the platform that he has now. And it just got me thinking, really. Next, I'm using the Morphe M321 brush, and I'm going to go in with the shade Group Chat right here. But, it got me thinking about, like, how disappointed I have been with some of the larger content creators. Like, when I first started getting into makeup and skincare about a year ago, a little over a year ago, one of the first channels that I watched was Jeffree Star, and just to learn that he was a hugely problematic person. And, like, me and my daughter, we watched, like, the series that he did with Shane Dawson, and, I even thought about buying the palette and all that type of stuff. Like, I was really, really excited for all of that, just to find out that, like, he's, a bigot, and he is just overall a nasty individual. And so it's like, why are the people who are the most problematic given the opportunity to have the biggest platforms? Like, that's what I want to know. Is it because they're men? Is it because they're white men? Like, what is the deal? Because I know women can't get away with that crap, people of color can't get away with that crap. Okay, and next I'm going to go in with the shade Amazing right here. It's a nice burgundy shade. What I, have chosen to do, is follow smaller creators who have proven themselves to be unproblematic. People like the Welsh twins, James and Robert Welsh, both of their channels are great. Tina, the Fancy Face, she's somebody that I recently started following. Jackie Aina, Jen Loves. I'm trying to think of who else off the top of my head. Nady from the Pop Lux channel. All these people have smaller platforms, but they create amazing content without being problematic assholes. It's very unfortunate, and I feel like that's kind of like with life, that the people who are the most problematic are often given the most power. that that's taken care of, I want to get into the foundation review. I have tested this product for a week. I've used more than one primer, so I have a little bit of experience of what works well with it, what doesn't work well with it, so that I can give you guys a thorough and honest review. I am first going to break down all of the claims that L'Oreal makes about the foundation. After going through all of that and showing you guys how it applies, I'm going to give you my final verdict at the end. The L'Oreal Fresh Wear Powder Foundation retails for, I believe, $14.99. However, I was able to get it for $11.99 at Target. It comes in 14 shades. I am using the shade Radiant Sand. And it has not only the foundation, but it has a little puff and a cute little mirror to go along with it as well. I have not used this puff, but I think that it would be nice if you're traveling and you need to do a touch-up throughout the day. Let's talk about primers. So originally I used the Cover FX Pore Filling Primer to use this. I don't think that it works great. It went on well, that was fine, but the longevity was not as good. So what did work good was the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Foundation Primer. I have a travel size because it is an expensive product. I believe it retails for like $30 or something like that. I don't want to spend $30 on a primer just to find out that I don't like it. So I got the travel size from Sephora. Now this has a lot of people who rave about it and a lot of people who hate it. Because it's a sticky base. This will keep your foundation on all day. I wore it yesterday on Easter Sunday, and my face looked flawless from the moment I put it on to the moment I took it off around, I want to say, 10 o'clock at night. So from 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock, it held up. So I'm going to first start by priming my face with the Hydro Grip. A little bit goes a long way. You don't need a ton. I didn't have to necessarily apply it all over the face. I focus on places where I know foundation wears off on me throughout the day. So I've tried applying this foundation with a brush, a foundation brush, and a puff, and I found that the puff works a lot better. It's able to be built up a lot faster and gives I would say that it gives a more even application. So I use the Blendiful by Tati Beauty, but really I think any microfiber type puff would do. And I just start off by just kind of swirling it a little bit, and you see how much goes on there and how opaque that is. A little bit goes a long way. So, and then I just start by swiping to see how quickly that covers. So I swipe and then I blend and buff it into the skin. It is buildable. You can go to a very full coverage. However, I would say that you have to be careful that you don't end up with cake face. And you can use concealer with this. What I did was apply the concealer before the foundation. But for the interest of time, I'm just kind of bypassing the concealer for today, just so you guys can see how the foundation performs on its own. Okay, so if you can see the difference between this side and this side, okay? As I'm applying this, and finishing up, I want to get into some of the claims that this foundation makes, because it makes some pretty bold claims. First one, which is right on the package, is that it lasts up to 24 hours. I mean, I have not personally worn this for 24 hours, but first of all, it's not even healthy to do that. I'm going to call BS on that, because if you wear this for 24 hours, at some point you're going to sleep, and if you sleep, the foundation is going to come off, which leads to the second claim that the foundation is transfer proof. While I would say it's more transfer proof than a liquid foundation, it definitely will rub off. Like if you're wearing a face mask, it's going to rub off a little bit. But compared to a lot of foundations, it is pretty good. It's probably the most transfer proof foundation that I have tried. But would I say that you could just go rubbing your face on a white pillowcase? Absolutely not. The next claim that it makes is that it is a weightless formula, and I would say that that is accurate. Once this foundation is on the face, you really don't feel it. It's very, very lightweight, which I think is just because it's a powder. It allows the skin to kind of breathe a little bit more. It says that it gives a natural matte finish, which I would agree with. It's definitely matte. Now, the last claim that I want to call shenanigans on is that it claims that it's suitable for all skin types. I would say if you have dry skin, this is probably not the foundation for you. It is drying. I have normal to combination skin. I skew drier in the winter and more oily in the summer. But I wanted to test this because I would love to have a foundation in the summer that absorbed oil and didn't, make me super shiny throughout the day. And that I can only wear I only have to wear one product as opposed to several, right? And I feel like this fit the bill for that. But if you have dry skin, I would say this is a no-go unless you use a lot of moisturizer beforehand. Now, there's some claims that I was not able to test. It says that it's waterproof, heatproof, and sweatproof. It wasn't hot enough for me to be sweaty. I didn't dunk my head in water. I didn't shower with my makeup on. I didn't go swimming. So I don't know if it's waterproof. I don't know if I believe that, though. I wouldn't buy it based off of those kinds of claims. So this, when you get a closer look, is what the foundation looks like. And obviously, if you add the concealer and everything like that, that's also going to contribute to your look. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do highlighter and blush and just keep it real basic for today. Now that I have that taken care of, I'm going to put on some lip gloss. I'm going to be using the Lip Plumping Transforming Top Coat by Ulta Beauty. These are nice to use either on their own or with a topper. I think today I'm going to use the shade Celestial. I'm going to do my brows and my lashes off camera, and then I'll be back to give my final thoughts. And I am back. So I finished the rest of my makeup, but the last step I wanted to do is add setting spray to my makeup. I am using the Joa Crystal Glow Refreshing Luminizer Skin Mist. I received this for free to test out from Influencer, and I enjoyed it so much that I have been continuing to use it every single time. One tip I would say is if you're concerned that your foundation looks a little bit too powdery, spray on a setting spray, and that will help kind of blend it into your skin and give you a more natural finish. I want to give you my closing thoughts with both the pros and the cons of this foundation. The first pro is that it's affordable. Okay, for under $15 you can get a really, really good quality powder foundation, which, I mean, really you can't do much better than that. Easily accessible. You can get it from Target, Ulta, drugstores. The only issue right now is because it's extremely popular, a lot of the shades are sold out. The next pro is that it's extremely travel friendly. Because it's in a nice little compact design, you can just throw this into your purse, and if you were to need to touch up throughout the day, you have the little powder puff in a mirror to do that, which I think is really nice. The next positive is that it is easy to use. So I think it's extremely beginner friendly. You can build it extremely slowly, which kind of leads into the next positive, is that it is definitely a buildable foundation. So it's versatile. You can go with a no makeup look, or if you want to be beat for the gods, then you can do that too. Next on the list of positives is that it's weightless. So right now, with my face fully done, like I don't feel the foundation on my face, which I love, because that's the one thing I don't like with most liquid foundations, is that I can feel it. And in the summertime, it's hard. I can't stand it. So I think this would definitely be a go-to as the months get warmer. And that leads me to my final positive, is that I believe that this is going to be a really, really good option for the summer months. As things get warmer, people get more sweaty, shinier, all that kind of thing. They want to wear a little bit less makeup but still look good. I think that this is going to be an excellent option. Okay, so now that we did the pros, let's talk about some of the cons. The first one is the biggest and most glaring, is the shade range. The shade range is trash. 14 shades. It's like 50 shades of beige is what I would call this, except there's only 14. L'Oreal, you need to do better. And in their site, the darkest shade, they show this beautiful man with super deep, rich skin tone and his before and after. But I have a very hard time believing that this man used that foundation to achieve the look. The undertone is different. The shade is very, very light compared to his skin tone. And I understand that you don't need as many shades for a powder foundation because it's a little bit more versatile, but you definitely need to do more for people of color, I would say. The next con is that it can be drying. If you have dry skin, it will dry you out. Like yesterday, I didn't prep my skin enough with moisturizer and it did feel a little bit drying. I had to use a lot of skin mist to make sure that I felt okay. So if you have really, really dry, dehydrated skin, I don't think that this is gonna be this is gonna be an option for you. I think I mentioned that earlier. And the very last con is that it can look a bit powdery if you put on too much, but that's nothing that the skin mist can't help, or a setting spray. So basically that's it. Do I recommend this foundation? Absolutely. I think that if you can find your shade and you can find it in stock, it's definitely worth a try, especially with its price point. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again to my channel. And for all of you who watched my first video last week, I want to give you the biggest thank you in the world. It means a lot to me. It took a lot for me to put myself out there for the very first time on YouTube in such a public space, but the support that you guys gave definitely warmed my heart. And I hope that you continue to enjoy the content I make. So with that being said, I hope to see you guys next week. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification so you can be notified of every upload that I make. Take care, guys. Bye.